So, while most of the people started Incursion League with no cooldown traps, I wanted to shoot as many birds as possible with one stone, and I wanted to try as many traps as possible in one build. So I picked all 3 durational traps, which is Lightning Spire Trap, Flamethrower Trap, and Seismic Trap, which by default each have 8-second cooldown and only 3 charges. And Cluster Trap makes them consume all the charges at once. I already did a video talking about these durational traps and how they scale and all the other things, so I don't want to make this video too long, so if you want more detailed explanation about these durational traps, check my previous video. As always, timestamps and all the other information will be in video description. So about this build, this is level 88 Saboteur, and so far I have been running all the map mods. There's basically no map mods that you cannot run. Even no regen, you can still do it. Well, you would have to have mana flask. While no cooldown traps builds are usually very spammy and they do need a lot of mana and mana regen, this build doesn't have any mana issues. And all my main traps were only on a 4 link all the way until level 87. And it does not require any special items, however, I'm not sure if it is very good for the new players, because you need to conserve your traps and only use them when you absolutely need it. Because wasting your traps and going on a long cooldown without ability to throw more traps is kind of bad, obviously. So a less experienced player may not know how much damage it's gonna be dealing and when to not throw the extra trap, but other than that it is pretty new player friendly. And so far I did manage to do all the maps that I had, and I bought Phoenix map, did the Phoenix, then I bought Hydra, did the Hydra. It was a bit sketchy, but here's the main problem. When you use all of the traps, especially Flamethrower trap, it basically blinds you and you can't really see what's going on. And that was basically my main issue with the Hydra fight and a bit sort of an issue with the Phoenix fight. But it definitely is endgame viable. Probably not the Uber Elder viable, but maybe with more investment it could be. Now I'm using these durational traps for everything, for clear speed and for single target, and it definitely feels decent. And because you throw the traps and they do damage over the duration, you are free to move and dodge dangerous attacks. And once you preload all of your traps, you can do insane damage against bosses, like this Uber Zaro fight. Basically, I knew him down with all of my traps at once, and I didn't need to throw more traps. I haven't tried no cooldown trap builds, but from what I have seen, this build is probably a bit weaker and a bit more complicated version. But like already explained, it does have some advantages. By the way, this build started as a crit build, but later I refunded around 20 points and went into non-crit build. The reason for that is non-crit builds are easier to gear up, you have more free points to spend, and you have more cooldown, so it is a bit smoother to play, it's better for clear speed, and it is well cheaper to gear up, and you don't need to maintain your charges. So let me talk about items, then skills and passive skill tree. For leveling I was using this staff that I got myself, but it is very cheap and you can get something like that at very low levels for like 1 Hearse. The rest of the leveling items, you just need 3 4-link setups for your traps. And also Sacrificial Heart, which gives a lot of damage and is only level 32 and also costs around 1 Hearse. Now my current weapon, which I bought for a couple Hearse, is this wand. And the shield also with some spell damage. Basically you want generic spell damage, because you are using lightning, fire and physical damage traps. Added flat damage to spells is also very good. For body armor, I am just using body armor with a lot of life, percentage life and resistances. Links in my body armor are Flamethrower trap linked with advanced traps, trap and mine damage, control destruction and combustion. Flamethrower trap does more damage against burning enemies, and combustion allows you to ignite enemies, increasing the flamethrower damage. For 6 link I would probably use level 3 Empower, or a cheaper version would be Fire Penetration. As for the helmet, I do have a Flamethrower trap enchantment, but it's definitely not required, and it is very important in this league to get as much haste resistance as possible. And in the end, without any flasks, I do have positive 50 haste resistance. For alternative helmet, you could get shaped helmet with trap and mine support gem, and with flat cold or lightning damage to spells, along with as much life as possible, obviously. And that would be like a pseudo 5-link setup, or it could be essence crafted helmet for 30% more elemental damage, and you would be using like lightning spire trap or flamethrower trap in this helmet. So in my helmet I do have lightning spire trap linked with control destruction, trap and mine damage and advanced traps. And if you got a pseudo 5-link helmet setup, you could use, instead of trap and mine damage, you could use like either lightning damage, lightning penetration. That is if you want to use lightning spire trap inside the helmet. Next, my gloves. I do have shaped gloves with trap cooldown and faster casting. Since all these durational traps scale with faster casting, these kind of gloves are pretty cheap and it still benefits you. So this is like a pseudo 6-link setup. And the links inside my gloves are Seismic Trap, linked with Trap and Mine damage, added cold damage, and concentrated effect. Instead of added cold damage, I would be using Controlled Destruction, but these gloves are dex based, so it was difficult to get the right colors and I ran out of chromatic orbs. But definitely, instead of added cold, I would be using Controlled Destruction. Also for gloves, instead of trap cooldown, it could be Trap and Mine support. But then you would have to swap, instead of using Trap and Mine support gem inside the gloves, you would use Advanced Trap support gem, which used to be called Trap cooldown. Next, my boots are nothing special. I'm also trying to get Chaos Resistance, Movement Speed, Life, other resistances. And in my boots I have level 1 cast when damage taken, linked with level 10 Frost Wall and level 3 Immortal Call. And also have Stone Golem. I do like using Frost Wall, especially in this league when we got so many projectiles. Now, one of my ring is nothing too special, just life and resistances, but the other one is to cover strength and dex requirements to get a bit flat damage to spells and a bit of life and resistances. Then in my shield I do have Clarity, Bear Trap and Flame Dash. And in my wand I do have Temporal Chain linked with Blasphemy and Val Lightning Trap. So against bosses basically you throw all of your traps. Bear Trap increases damage done by other traps. Actually, it would be nice to link bear traps with increased skill effect duration, but currently it does last 4.35 seconds. It can be pretty tricky to aim bear traps directly under the boss, especially if it is moving, but usually you just preload all of your things before the boss can even move. And Val Lightning Trap does shock the enemies, increasing damage they take. And with Val skill changes, you can actually now gain souls for your Val skills against single target like Shaper or Guardians or Izaro. Oh, I think I missed the belt. The belt is also nothing too special. I did also try to get Chaos Resistance, and the rest is just resistances and life. Way more expensive version of the belt would be a belt with cooldown and recovery speed. But at this point, it doesn't seem like you need any more cooldown and recovery speed. I currently have 4.88 second cooldown and recovery speed on my Flamethrower trap and Lightning Spire trap, and a bit higher cooldown on Seismic trap. For flasks, I do like using Azir's Promise because it also gives Chaos Resistance and will more damage from your elemental hits. Oh, also quite important is to have Quartz Flask, because you want phasing to be able to walk through your own Frost Wall. You could just Flame Dash over it, but it's just easier and simpler to just walk over it. Now for the passive skill tree. Saboteur, and as you can see, I actually don't have life regen node. The reason for that is I'm not spamming my traps with cluster trap like no cooldown builds. And I'm not actually consuming all that much mana, so I don't really benefit from this reduced mana cost of skills. But if you want more defenses, I guess you could take it. Instead, I first went for Chain Reaction, then Born in the Shadows, which blinds all nearby enemies, and it increases damage done against those blinded enemies. And from Uberlab I took this for more damage and more AoE. And here's the rest of the passive skill tree. First I went through the trap nodes, to the life nodes, through elemental nodes and grabbed another trap node, went down to the more life nodes and to the big trap node wheel, and then I believe I went up through the more life nodes and to grab more cooldown. Oh, and also these trap nodes to get trap throwing speed and more trigger AoE. Then more to the left to the witch area, more AoE, more life, even more to the left to the Templar area, more life regen, more life, more AoE. Then a bit down towards the Scion. Took the skill effect duration, I think the last, but I went straight to the big Scion life wheel. And now lastly I'm traveling towards the Master Sapper, which would allow me to generate frenzy charges. From the Bandits I helped Alira, which is kind of a mistake because I'm no longer a crit build, but I guess it still helps. It does give some mana regen and resistances, or you could just get 2 skill points. And that's pretty much all. I think I may still be playing this build another day because I'm just enjoying it. It's very easy to run maps with this. You just all can go, don't need to think about map mods. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you soon.